Hi there and welcome to Transcona Trailer Sales. Today I'm going to be walking you through your new 2021 Matrix Gulfstream 25 BHS. We are just going to start off at the back of the unit. You notice you do have your spare tire located back here, as well as your city water connection. So if your eyesight was service, you can just thread a garden hose in here, turn it on. It's going to pressurize all the lines without the need to run your water pump. And then you have your hot water service port. Opening that guy up, the main thing you're going to want to do is when you first get to your campsite, just giving that pressure relief valve a pull. You should see that shot of water coming out of there, letting you know that the tank's ready to fire up and safe to do so. If there was no water coming out of there, that would let you know that the tank's empty and not safe to fire up. Your 1.1/8" drain bolt right down here at the bottom, and then I'm going to go over a reset procedure inside. The button I'm going to refer to is just right there. Located in this back bumper here, you're just going to pull this cap off, and you're going to find your 20-foot sewer hose. Just take a note of those two ears there. It's going to be the same two ears that hook up to your sewer system, which I'll show you in just a second. In this corner, as well as all four corners of the unit, you do have stabilizer jacks. The way those guys work is you're just going to hook up the tool located inside the front compartment to these jacks, run these feet down to the ground. Once the feet contact the ground, just give it another 8 1/4 turn, and it's going to just take any bounce or sway you see we have in the unit right now away. Located in this compartment here, this is where you're going to find your starter kit. You're going to find a 15-foot water hose and just some other goodies. And then right down here is your sewer system. You're noticing that cap's got the same ears your sewer hose does, and they just line up the same way. You got your black tank and your gray tank. You're always going to want to empty your black tank first. This can be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets, and then you can come behind that with your gray tank, which is typically a little cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. And then you do have a black tank flush right here. So important, you do have to have your sewer connected and your black tank open whenever you use this flush. That way you don't run the risk of bursting your tank. And the way it works is it sprays the inside of the tank out, keeping things that little bit cleaner. You got a satellite and a cable inlet on this side here. And then you do have your standard 30 amp plug. Most campsites should have this and you can plug right on in, but we do also include a 15 amp park adapter inside that starter kit. In case you have the unit at home and you want to run your fridge, just keep in mind when you're going down to 30 amps power, you aren't going to want to run anything like your air conditioner. It's really just to run your fridge and your lights. Inside this compartment here is just some more storage. And then located right up front here, you're going to, inside this box, you find that battery. And then you got two 20-pound propane tanks, which pretty much work just like home. Counterclockwise will open up the flow of propane to the unit. And then right on that regulator, you do have the selector valve. So with it pointed this way, you're gonna be running off this tank. And if you were to flip it around to the other way, you can run off this tank. You do have this cover that just slides on and off nice and easily right here. And then you have your tongue jack up front. You got a light switch as well as up and down. And inside this compartment here, you're gonna find that tool I told you about earlier for those stabilizer jacks. And then you do have one extra one, and that's just for the manual override on the tongue jack right up top there in case it were to fail for whatever reason. You do have a way to operate it. And then on the wall here, you have this switch does turn on a nice LED light so you can see what you're doing underneath here. You got two 110 plugins. You do have your range hood flap, which you always do want to make sure is open whenever you're at your campsite. And then you can just push it into place like so whenever you're traveling, just to stop any excess dust from getting inside the unit. And then you have your fresh tank fill. Loosen that guy off, put a garden hose in there, turn it on, and it's going to fill your fresh tank, and that's what your water pump draws off of. And then you do have your furnace exhaust right here, and then so whenever that is on, it's going to be blowing out hot air, so be mindful of that. You get your fridge service port, which not much you need to worry about there. Right down underneath, if you're going to notice, there should be, sorry, it's on the other side. It's right here. This little cap here, if you loosen this cap off, pull this off, and that's just gonna drain all the water in the fresh tank for whenever you're done using it. To get inside the unit, you're just pushing this assist handle up and folding it 90 degrees and lock in place. That'll allow you to open up the door, get these stairs down. You do have to make sure that door is open all the way. That'll allow you to pull it down. You're gonna have these two pins on either side. That'll allow you to adjust your feet for your campsite needs so you can run up the stairs. One thing you'll note whenever you do have this door open, making sure whenever you run your awning, you have the door open enough that the awning can clear it. That way you don't run the risk of damaging anything. Taking a step on inside, you got your fire extinguisher right on your left. That's just like home. Pull the pin and shoot. You got all your light switches here. And then you have your water pump switch as well as your water heater switch. Whenever you turn that water heater on, you're going to turn that button on. This DSI fault light's going to come on. The water heater is going to try lighting itself 3 times. If on the 3rd try it doesn't light, this light's going to stay on. At that point, you do just have to turn this switch off. Go hit that reset button I showed you earlier, and then turn this back on, and it'll try relighting itself. The reason I say that is sometimes it takes a few minutes just to purge all the air out of the propane lines. Then you have your water pump switch. And then you get to your slide out switch. Pushing and holding that button will allow that slide out to make its way out. Once fully extended, you're going to hear the whines and the clicks of the motor, and just like the sticker says, just make sure that you have 4 feet of clearance on both the inside and the outside, making sure that door didn't pop out into the way or there's nothing that fell behind the slide. And there you go, you heard that clicking, and that's when you know you're fully extended. And then you have your awning. So again, making sure that your door is not going to run in contact with that arm. And once fully extended, you're going to see the back of the metal tube and the little flap hang down. And there you go, you got that little flap coming down there. Sometimes the flap does get stuck, so you just have to retract it for a second and pull it back out. Now if it were to start raining, you do want to make sure that you adjust it. You do have adjustments right here. How those guys work is you just pinch that in, and it will allow you to adjust the pitch by sliding this arm. Now, if you like that pitch better, you can do the same thing with the arm on the other side, in the rear. So it's making sure you put them back to the same pitch when you go to bring it in. That way you don't run the risk of bending anything. Now, if we were to get to about 5 to 10 kilometer-hour winds, you do want to make sure you bring that awning in. That way you don't run the risk of bending your arms or ripping your fabric. To bring them in, it is just as simple as pushing and holding that button, and the awning will start making its way in. Once the arms contact the side of the trailer, the motors are going to cut out, and you can just let off the button. Once you're inside, you get 2 doors for your bedroom, one on this side and one on the other side. You get your entertainment center, you got your stereo, which pretty much works just like home, minus the fact of having zone 1 and zone 2. Zone 1 is going to be these inside speakers. Zone 2 will be your exterior speakers. On the wall here, you do have this TV, which if you slide it out of the way, you're going to notice you got some coax plugins on the back here. Right down below, if you open this up, you have some storage space. And then to get into the bedroom, you have another door on this side. The buttons for the bedroom are just on their own center push buttons. Bedroom, storage on either side of the bed. And then you got your fire exit. That works pretty simple. You're just taking this red tab, pulling it, the screen pops right out of place like so. And then you can just take this little red handle, push it on out of the unit. All the blinds in the unit do work the same way as well. They just kind of sit where you leave them. In the dinette area, you do have the light right up top here, just on its own center push button. And then right down below, you got your table. Right down under there, you got these 2 legs. You can turn this into a bed. You just have to remove these 2 legs, take that tabletop, sit it on the center, and then you can take your back cushions to fill the top in, and you'd have another bed. Kitchen area, you got your sink with hot and cold water, range hood, which I do recommend running anytime you are running the stove, as it does run off propane. You got your microwave, just like home, not much I'll show you there. Right down below, you're just gonna, you got your oven, and to get that to light, just turn that light on, turn this over to pilot, push and hold it in, giving it a few seconds, because if the propane system's been off, it allows air into the system. And then you hit that sparker and it fires right on up. then turn it up to your desired temperature. Get the stove to light. It's the same deal, just flipping this glass cover back, being mindful because it is glass, so it can be delicate. Turn it over to that high, get the sparker, fires right on up. Again, like I said, sometimes it can take a few minutes just to get all the air out of the line, so just be patient with it. And then you got your pneumatic fridge. Temperature control is just on this fin here, the slider. The higher you put that plastic piece on the fin, the colder it's gonna get. And up top you got your controls, so with that flush, it's on. If you were to push that like that, it turns it off. And then of course, you can either run it on auto, in which case it's first gonna search for shore power. If shore power is taken away, it'll automatically switch over to gas, or you can run it solely on gas just by pressing that button. And if that check light comes on at any time, that's just letting you know that it didn't fire up on gas. And you can retry it just to make sure that it just wasn't a purge issue. On the wall here, you're gonna notice you got your thermostat. Pushing that button once and it illuminates itself. Push it again, you get into fan. You can change that fan at any time just by pushing the up and down buttons. I usually just leave it on auto. And then you can turn it over to cool, set your desired temperature, and the air conditioner is going to kick in. You can either run this air conditioner with the doors open, in which case it's going to pump all its air into the main living space, or you can close them and then it'll move the air below the unit just with the ceiling ducting you have throughout. Push that button one more time, we'll bring you over to the furnace and fire up the furnace. And then one more time to go off. The furnace also runs off propane. You got an LP detector right on here, down by the ground. If that guy ever starts going off, you're just going to want to turn off the main supply of propane and open up some windows just to ventilate it out a little bit. And the furnace does move all its air through the 4 portals you see we have throughout the unit. And then you got your main fuse and breaker panel, flopping this guy open. Whenever a breaker trips, it's going to sit in the middle, so you do just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. And whenever you have a fuse trip, it's going to have a little red indicator light letting you know which one's tripped. Opening up this door, you got your bathroom with your light switch on your right. You do have your shower, hot and cold water, toilet, sink, of course, little medicine cabinet up top. That's going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.